So I want to talk about why men of this generation are scared of women. And I think it has to do with a bunch of reasons, and I'm going to go into it. But number one, dating apps has made it so that men do not have to risk anything to go on a date with women. Back in the day, you used to have to at least go to a bar and risk rejection in front of your friends or embarrassment or any sort of thing like that. Now it's just guaranteed. Men can go on an app and just swipe, and if you match with them, they know that you at least have interest in them, so there's literally no risk. Second, I think that people having phones and girls always recording things definitely scares men because they always think that like a girl is going to record them and call them a creep. Men are so terrified of being called creeps. I think it's like one of the things that they fear the most. They never want to be that creepy guy, and now in this generation everything's recorded and put on TikTok, so they're scared about that. And the third reason I think men are scared of women is because they just don't have motivation due to pornography and things like that to even go on dates, and they're so scared of being like called a creep or getting like accused of something that it's easier for them to just stay inside. I'm not saying this is an excuse, and men, you need to get out there and get over this, but I'm just explaining why I feel like men truly are scared of women in this generation.
Yeah, there's a bunch of reasons, and she has a couple really good points. But maybe men are scared because of the risk and uncertainty. But I think maybe the greatest fear is the fear of the unknown. The greatest fear of the unknown, and not really knowing what you're going to get yourself into. And especially here in Florida being ranked one of the worst, if not the worst state for LGBTQ, and also breaking news making the headlines today, which has caused some people to leave the state of Florida and relocate to a safer place to live. Now, when you think about safe places to live and you think about the potential risks and dangers that come with living in Florida, what come to mind? Drop them down below in the comment. Rank them from greatest risk and greatest fear to least. And much like we've seen massive change and a huge progression in this evolution of men dating women and these dating apps, which in and of themselves are problematic. And I'll explain why later on in the video, so stick around. But to make matters even worse, you never really know what you're going to get when it comes to Florida, and Florida is just becoming more and more dangerous from a variety of perspectives. And no, I don't mean accidentally hooking up with a guy at a bar that you thought was a girl, or a girl at a bar that you didn't know was a guy. Yeah, because that's a thing now.
I don't care, it's a lot of girls. That's not a girl. I know! Hey! You know that's not a girl, right? What? That's not a girl. Wait, what? The girl you kiss, yeah, is not a girl. And you're the fourth guy he kissed. Really? He? Wait, that's a he. Oh, yeah. The girl he kissed, that's a he. You about to take a guy home. That's a he. You keep kissing him, you're nasty, bro. That's a he. You're the fourth guy he kissed. That's a he. You didn't see the Adam's apple?
But also, more importantly, being attacked. Yeah, that's a huge risk. It's a huge danger, personal safety. And it's happening more and more often now with people being attacked by sharks in the water. And sharks have been waiting all year for this. And summertime is here. The tourists are out. People are not paying attention to their surroundings. And to make matters even worse, they're being invited in, the sharks that is, by folks fishing off of the beach shore. Hey, You can't make this stuff up, folks. You just got to be careful. You got to keep your head on the swivel. Watch your six. Stay frosty, friends, because you just never know what you're going to see on these Florida beaches, and that could be anything, including bears and alligators. And what you may not see on these beaches too much longer are homes, because the latest just released less than 24 hours ago, and it has to do with the continuous fight for Florida property insurance and homeowners insurance. There's growing concern about the Florida property insurance crisis clashing with this year's hurricane season, and West Tampa residents are already on high alert. And I quote, "Everything has gone up, and not just property insurance, but the cost of living." Over in St. Petersburg, one homeowner has been dealing with the high costs and says that between flood insurance, homeowners insurance, and taxes, it's running you up $10,000 a year. And those dollars add up. People can't afford it. Everybody's broke. And as you can see here, Floridians do not have that kind of money to backfill their own home, and that's why we pay insurance. And so this is in response to make insurance companies provide discounts to policy owners and homeowners who are forced to undertake expensive mitigation measures as a result of the climate change problems that are causing rates to go up. So if you want to blame anybody, blame climate change. Now, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, recently signed a bill to make climate change less of a focus for the state, even deleting the phrase out of some of the existing laws. And Florida Democrats, on the other hand, held a virtual meeting calling on more action to be taken during hurricane season. But again, Floridians do not have that kind of money to backfill their own home, and that's why they pay insurance. But the Democrats fear that Citizens Property Insurance Corporation, which is the state's insurer of last resort, could run out of money when disaster strikes. Citizens has over 1 million policyholders now, 1.1 million. It only collects money from those property owners, and in 2023 it ended the year with $10.3 billion in total assets. And since hurricane damage is in the billions of dollars, there's fear that account could be wiped out, depleted, emptied, zeroed out. And if that happens, then the state law forces taxpayers to foot the rest of the bill. And I can guarantee you guys this: when that time comes, you're going to see a mass exodus of people leaving the state of Florida who are fed up with paying for other people's problems, especially those who don't own homes or aren't in the pathway of the hurricane's damage. This is actually a pretty interesting conversation to have, because I do a lot of research and I bring you guys a lot of different videos and a lot of different topics and subjects. But in my research, there's one thing that stays and maintains its consistency throughout, and that is that history will repeat itself. History has repeated itself, and history will repeat itself. And that comes, that's in regard to basically any topic of discussion, any conversation for that matter. And therefore, when we look at the economy, when we look at real estate, when we look at the jobs report, jobs market, unemployment rates, when we look at food, when we look at safety and personal safety and crime, when we look at interest rates, when we look at anything and everything, there are ebb and flows, there's peaks and valleys, there are highs and lows, there's ups and downs, and that's history repeating itself. At some point in time, this market will crash. The stock market will crash, the housing market will crash, the automotive industry will crash. The United States of America will fall into a deep, deep depression, as we are already in a recession. And from that, we will then begin to rebuild and recover. Only then, inevitably waiting for that cycle to occur yet again. Even when we are discussing and talking about and tracking the impending risk of the next breakout of civil war, civil unrest, or World War III, that is history repeating itself. And those cycles tend to take on different schedules and time frames. However, in the case of hurricane season and climate change, well, that's almost relatively like clockwork and getting pretty consistent in the interval and the intensity, and ultimately the total damage, destruction, and cost that it will then force upon those who are pretty much not immune to it at all, okay? Because even if you're not a homeowner, even if you are a homeowner and your home's not being damaged by high winds and flooding, as a citizen, theoretically, of the United States of America, as a tax-paying citizen, as a insurance policyholder of some sort, you will feel that as prices go up. Insurance policy costs go up, premiums go up on all accounts, deductible costs go up, rise, the replacement costs go up, the out-of-pocket expenses go up, in addition to just general inflation. So let's just say, hypothetically, Florida gets hit with a Category 5, wipes out the state, billions and billions of dollars in damages, and you live in Tennessee. You're not affected by it. However, let's just say now, it doesn't matter where you live, really, because the cost to rebuild Florida is going to be astronomical. And that cost is going to then trickle down throughout the entire country, and everybody will feel it in some way, shape, or form. Let me know you guys can hear me, okay? And if the streets get flooded and these homes get flooded, then odds are sharks are going to be swimming the streets and just making Florida that much more dangerous and less desirable, forcing people to leave. Which I don't know if that's actually going to happen, honestly, really true, but it is kind of weird to think about the fact that flooding could introduce sharks in the streets. And crazier things have happened, right? For instance, the craziness of this new dating world of not actually dating and not actually really having a social interaction, but more of a impersonal and disconnected virtual tie to your smartphone device and some app that you've downloaded that is really not people being matched with people, but ones and zeros being matched with other ones and zeros based on random inputs and a string of values assigned to an algorithm by someone who may not necessarily know much about dating and compatibility. Yeah, that's a thing. Because I was actually doing some research of my own and research in regard to AI, the advancements and the future of AI, and some folks actually looking forward to what AI is going to bring in regards to relationships as it relates to dating apps, which is funny because YouTube and this algorithm technology, much like other social media platforms like TikTok, see, that's why I came back out. The girls are still inside, but I came back out. We got to get some windows cracked here for the dog, because I can't lock this car and keep the dog inside without that happening. And so I didn't want the alarm going off, but I also didn't want the dog out here by himself, vulnerable, and we come outside and there's no dog again. So I came out here because of that. So yeah, and then I'm probably gonna have to fuel up here in a minute. We got enough fuel to make it back, but better safe than sorry, right? But either way, these social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Twitter, X, YouTube, mostly anything and everything really now. iPhones, the new Samsung operating system, this S24 Plus that Walmart accidentally leaked early by accident, are going to have AI interface. AI is going to be incorporated in pretty much anything and everything that we do from this point moving forward. But in regard to AI and the dynamic of people's relationships, people are actually looking forward to AI bringing them more potential likely candidates that would more so align with their own personal taste in regard to finding a partner, a mate, a potential suitor, whatever you want to call it, spouse. When they describe it, it's almost how YouTube describes the content that you guys are delivered, the content that you guys see on the homepage, on the recommended, on the suggested, on the up next, on things you might like. And if you happen to get a survey about my video or my channel, please give me a good score on the survey. I would appreciate it, so YouTube can keep pumping this content to those who want it. But interestingly enough, what somebody said was really, really important, and it stood out to me because they said, we want AI to improve dating apps so that they bring us more matches or potential matches based on our own specific tastes, more so than just a profile pic. And that was huge, because that means AI has got to dig deeper in order to find out more. And we all know what that means and how AI does that, which you don't really want to wrap your head around that because that'll keep you up at night. But regardless, AI is going to do that, okay? So we have to look at that from the same perspective and standpoint of the content that we create. And it's more than just a title. It's more than just a thumbnail. It's actually what is inside the video that is going to resonate and ultimately provide you with the most value, the most enjoyment, the most entertainment, the highest level of satisfaction. And to ignore that that technology exists, and that's how algorithms are effectively and essentially being programmed day in and day out by you and I, by everybody, by other AI, by trending Google Trends, Twitter Trends, all this data, all these inputs, New York Times, which by the way, OpenAI is getting sued for. Sorry about that, guys. Sucks for you. But either way, we have to realize and understand that that is how this is working and how it will work. And ultimately, that's going to be the greatest way to provide the best content for the best audience so that AI can then bring you more of what you like, more of what you want to see, despite just how it's packaged on the outside with a title and thumbnail. You see what I'm saying? So what are you going to do? Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. See you on the next one.